Hi, my name is Tara Sanders, and I wanted to do a video record this time so that you can actually see live what I'm doing. So bear with me, it might be a little different. All right, so teaching sixth grade, I see the rumor mill, an excellent constructivist lesson example in social emotional learning to understand how fast a rumor can spread from one person to another. I see it's constructivist because of the scaffolding if directions are used and the model already set to use. But however, I can also see it scaffolding because one person may be at a deeper learning level than what is already displayed, and you can switch out modes, you can add buttons. So I can see every tier being able to use this in some way with guidance if needed. I can also see this as a constructionist level because if you take out the info part and you have them just explore, they're able to not only just play, but they'll learn through their playing because they're actually creating their own little model of whether it's a virus, the wolves and the sheep, like you had us do in our example time. So without that info, they would be left without any instructions and left to play and explore a little bit. And I think they would learn in that way as well. So I can see it constructivist, but I can also see this as a constructionist. Um, so working with sixth graders and counseling many couples, as my husband and I do in our ministry, the friends that I've counseled and the experiences of camp, I wanted to investigate the rumor mill and I wanted to investigate the virus because right now with COVID-19, we see how quickly it spreads. I also in sixth grade teach the bubonic plague. And so I thought, is this something we could use for our sixth graders? And I always tell students, the rumors spread just like a virus. It has to do with contact. So ear to ear contact or face to face contact like a virus or breathing on them or talking to them in some way. Every word you say affects a person, whether positively or negatively. And I wanted to show them how true this could be. So that's why I chose the rumor mill and that's why I chose the virus. So the rumor mill. I noticed that it works with spatial proximity, and the spatial proximity is the main factor that determines when and how often a neighbor spreads and hears a rumor. So they would have to be in close proximity. That's one thing I learned. It seems to be comparable to how quickly a virus spreads. I did find that out, so I was really excited about that. But I want to show you the first one that we did. So it's already set in a 4-person mode. So the first one you'll see is a 4-person mode here. Hopefully you can see my screen through this. In the 4-person mode, I wanted to show you not just how quickly that they're telling the rumor, but the green shows you how many are hearing at a time. But what you notice is in the center, that it's not just how many are hearing it, it's how many times. So the whiter that center gets, the more times that person has heard that same rumor. And if you look here at that peak, this is almost, look at that. Look how high it gets in these successive differences. And then it starts to go down. And that's because almost everyone has heard. And so it's not really spreading anymore because everyone has heard the rumor. But look how quickly that happened. So then I switched to 8 mode. And so when 8 people hear the rumor, do you see how much quicker the rumor is being spread? But I want to show you something too. Look at the successes differences. You don't really see a peak because it's just going and going and going and going. And these 8 people are telling 8 more people. And look at the successive ratio as well. Can you see how high that was? And then what happened? And then look at the center at the very end. Look how many people heard that rumor over and over and over again. So I was just very interested in seeing that. So the next one I want to show you is the vertical. So that was a square model. This is a vertical. So would it be different in a vertical center? That's one thing that they wanted us to try. So I want to show you what that looks like as well. So the first thing I did was a 4-person mode. And the red shows you how many times the rumor is being spread. Again, I wanted to see that green because I don't care just how many times it's being spread, how many times it's being heard to the point that someone else is spreading it too. Does that make sense? So look here, and this is in a circle. So this is in a close circle. How many times is being spread? And I didn't see much of a difference. It did take longer for the peak to hit before it went back down, and not as many people were telling the rumor that way. Not as many as heard. But look here. Look at the center and how much of a difference there is in that white. So that's how many times people are hearing it over and over and over again. Remember, if you hear something over and over and over again, you start to believe it. So I thought that was very interesting. So here's the 8-person mode. Look at this. Look how quickly that green is being spread throughout. So almost everyone here has heard it. And look at the center here, how much white that's turning. Not as quickly as the 4-person mode, which I was kind of surprised with. I figured with 8 people telling it, well, but then I thought with 8 people telling it, not as many people need to hear it at a time. With 4 people, it's being told over and over and over again, where 8 people, more people are telling it. So you don't have as much of as a white circle. However, it is spread even more throughout. And look at the peak, how high that hit, 400. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, those are the things that I tried, and I would just love to work this with my kiddos. The last one I did with the rumor mill that it wanted me to try was, what about an isolated area? So, we're at home right now and we're stuck at home with the same people. What would it be like if it starts in one general area instead of a center where more people are spread out, but more people are isolated? And I thought this was very interesting. So look how many people are going to hear, and you're going to look at the bottom left corner. That's where this, and it starts out slow, you think. And this is 4 people hearing the rumor. But I thought at first, well, that's just the little corner. That's not as many, until you think, okay, look at the whole corner. And I want you to see how white this is going to turn as it goes. Do you see that whole white right there? And I didn't show you the whole one because I wanted to show you how quickly, that's 215. Look at that. It's just crazy. Now look at the curve. The curve is a little slower here. And this is, do you see that? In the isolated area. So I just thought that was interesting because I wanted to see, okay, let's just say little girls in a corner. That's what I thought of the little corner, and they're talking and they're talking and they're talking. But look, I wanted to show them how quickly that spreads, how quickly their words can spread through there as well. It may take longer because they're talking and they're talking to each other, but then you start to see the curve rise. And I wanted to show them that as well, that it's still important. So those were the 3 things that I worked in the rumor mill. And then I moved on to the virus.